Oh wait, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's I can switch that for the YouTube video.
Okay.
Actually though, yeah, we turned on VOD storage, so that should be good. I kind of want to end the stream and then see if it pops up low key though. Like see if it pops up in the VOD storage.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll see. All right. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Westbound Weekly podcast with Dylan and Gavin. We're back again, and we've got some more updates for you guys about what we've been up to and a couple interesting things to talk about today. Um, we have covers up on YouTube in the links below. We just released a Newfound Glory cover a week or like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks, maybe now.
Yeah.
Should be a new one coming soon, so stay tuned for that as well. And again, we have a music video shoot coming up on May 6th at TriStar Skate in Cleveland, Ohio. Anyone is welcome to come and hang out and be in the video and have a good time with us. So stay tuned for that as well. I'm actually gonna after this stream too, by the way, Gavin, I'm gonna like put like the flyer for that in the Twitch bio for like until
Oh
that
yeah.
video comes up so people can see that.
It's a good idea.
Um, but if you guys want any more information on all that, all our social links are below. Follows, any support is super appreciated. So that being said, what have we been up to this week? What have you been getting into, Gavin?
Oh man, been making a lot of beats recently. I started a new beat channel called Carper DMs. It's a play on the
Banging.
it's play on the phrase Carpe Diem seize the day, but it's also my last name is Carper and added a Z because then it'd be more original, etc. But yeah, doing that and mainly making like dreamy, ethereal, chill beats, like mixing lo-fi and trap. Starting from there, and
Yeah.
yeah, been pretty exciting. Been
Yeah.
working with a new artist. His name's Kobe Kreitz. He's probably gonna have a rapper name at some point. He basically is this rapper singer, kind of does mostly rap, a little bit of singing, and he's
It's
really
like
good.
rap, but like
Um,
kind of chill too. Like
oh yeah, definitely some like sort of, I don't know. I don't want to say Mac Miller, but definitely something around that area.
a little taste, a little, it's a little
Yeah,
taste of Mac Miller.
I'm sure within the year he's gonna have some stuff to show you guys, and it'll be really cool. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
besides that, yeah, I've been working with other people on projects that are in various stages of completion, and then of course with the Westbound stuff, we actually just wrote an original.
Yeah, I forgot
Um,
to even bring that up.
yeah, within like the last week, like I don't know, because I had been doing other stuff that wasn't really pop punk related and wanted to get back into it. And then like the day after I wrote this instrumental for the new song, Dylan, heard it, and we tracked most of the vocals, and it's kind of in the running for what we're gonna go to the studio with next. And we're
Yeah.
kind of like we're at the point where we have like a couple songs banked up that we really like, and even though the months have passed, like the ones that were good, like 3 months
4 months ago,
ago,
yeah.
yeah, 3-4 months ago, are still like good now, and that's pretty unique. I think we usually are hard on our output. A few months ago or whatever, a few months back, we always think that, oh, it's bad compared to whatever we're doing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
The
think overall
curse.
they're all like standing like kind of similarly in quality, and like we're definitely growing in like subtle ways, and should be really cool once you guys get to hear that stuff. So yeah, should be pretty good.
We might at some point, like at least I would want to like show some of the instrumentals on stream at some point. So you guys at some point by tuning into our streams will here and there start to hear sneak peeks of some of like the new tracks we're working on. And yeah, that one on Wednesday that we did this week, we like Gavin wrote that in like one night, and then I did some lyrics, and then we finished it like the next day, which was really quick for how sick it's already sounding.
Yeah, we were saying it was like record time,
Yeah, it was
for an
crazy.
original song. Yeah, yeah, they've been coming together pretty fast. Just like with Dylan really taking charge on the vocals and the lyrics, and me getting to kind of create the soundscape for it.
Yeah. we're getting our process down now, so we're writing a lot quicker too, and like
Yeah.
the quality isn't suffering because of that. Because like kind of setting ourselves up like for efficiency. Gavin can do all his stuff at home. I can do all my stuff at home. We can meet up whenever we have to do it together if we need to. And sometimes
Yeah.
like we don't even need to get together to finish a song, which is where the real efficiency lies with that stuff. If you guys are getting into writing or anything like that and trying to be efficient about it, it's really good to have everybody who's actively involved in the writing like kind of have some access to be able to do stuff on their own. That makes it a lot more efficient.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was gonna say too on the topic of like sharing the the instrumentals
Oh yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
people. Like we can also, I know that this is possible in like FL Studio. I've seen producers actually make like they'll go live on like Twitch or something like this and basically just show their whole process of them like making like whether it's like a beat or
That
whatever.
would be
You can do
sick.
Yeah, because you can do the same thing in real time. Like if you're like, and I might start doing this. I just need to figure out the sort of like the sound pathing or whatever. I don't know how complicated it is, but essentially, yeah, if we could just capture what we're doing in real time, like I could even we could capture clips of me like making certain parts and kind of get highlights from that,
Yeah,
etc. And
there's like a software you can get to like get your DAW to like do the outs right if you're trying to stream it. I don't remember what it's called, but I'll have to like look that up again.
yeah.
I know it's like a pain in the ass to set up, but like once it's set up, it's like great.
Oh yeah, I noticed the streaming kind of like creation thing with the producer collective Internet Money. They a couple of their members stream for like sometimes for like 12 hours a day of them just making beats
Oh
and stuff.
wow.
And yeah, and like you can do the same sort of thing with like with a song. Sometimes it'll take a while for a whole song to come together, and I usually don't take many breaks. So I think like that
Yeah,
actually might
you
be a
just
cool
grind
way
all the way through. Like you're just like I'm not stepping away till I'm done.
yeah.
This guy is a grinder, guys.
Definitely, yeah. That probably ties into obviously this is a gaming, streaming site mostly, and we've been playing a lot of Diablo 3 in preparation
Yeah.
for Diablo 4 and
D4
um
fans, what's up?
yeah, definitely really excited for that and yeah, I get to play a wizard again. Probably gonna play. I don't know if a sorceress is coming back to D4. I'm assuming they're probably
Yeah, it
going to
is.
back to like D2 style classes, but
Dude, that's what it seems like. It seems a lot more like look wise, I guess, and like I guess like class wise, way more D2 vibes going on with that.
it'll be hilarious if you like, you jump in the game and then it's like, oh yeah, you only have like 4 inventory slots because you have a chest plate and like 2 swords in your inventory. Like that was such a problem. Like literally not even in just Diablo 2, but like all the clones, like all the other
Yeah,
games in that genre right now are
Path of
fucking
Exile, it's
yeah, like
really bad. And
Grim Dawn, like Last Epoch, they all have like really
yeah,
really small like inventories. They have like a ton of micromanaging kind of to like just to get your build all squared away. But I don't know. We were talking about that too, about how like, the great thing about Diablo 3 is it got so many people into that genre of like whether you call it hack and slash or isometric ARPG or whatever,
it's like a super
you
chill
know,
version of it.
yeah, it's like it allows people to learn the mechanics of a game of like that genre and stuff without it being like you have to, basically have your eyes glued to a build sheet the whole time, and
Right,
you,
Excel
you can
sheet
actually,
simulator.
yeah, getting on icy veins and just having to like literally just like, oh shit, I did something wrong and have to go back and fix everything, and then half these games don't even let you respec your points either. So
Right.
it's so
That's
cringe.
dude, that's why Last Epoch is banging, is because of the respec system.
Oh yeah, and of course, like I feel like Diablo 3 pioneered that because before that there was like I feel like everybody was afraid to like, you know, just make things more casual, and then as soon as they were, that's easily like it's probably made more money than any other action RPG in isometric style
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
ever. Like
Yo, yeah.
insane.
So yeah, we've been writing a lot and then basically just playing a belligerent amount of Diablo. It's actually been one of those weeks for us, like where like we knew what we were gonna do for like music stuff this week, and we did pretty much all that shit. But like between it, like we would be on Diablo before, we would be on Diablo after, and we just been grinding that game.
Exactly, yeah. That's been great.
Yeah, that's what's up. Also, the RE4 remake, dude. Oh my god, so good.
Oh
Any
yeah.
if there's any Resident Evil 4 fans out there, dude, if you have not played the remake, you need to play it. It's so good. It does the original justice. So, you heard it here first.
That's right. Yeah. I'm sure if they've been following it, they've probably heard it, many places too, many
No,
other.
exactly. This is like the latest form of you heard it here first. It's like this is
Yeah,
definitely the 30th time anyone has heard that.
yeah. No, yeah, I got to see him play it in person, and it was really cool. Definitely like very photorealistic,
Yeah.
and feels like watching it feels like you're watching somebody play The Last of Us, but like with I don't
Like
know,
a
it's
little
almost
twist
more.
or something.
Yeah, it's definitely like different in like several ways. Like the I think the jump scare aspect of it is still definitely still there for sure.
Dude, there's some crazy jump scares later in that game. There was one part, like the first night I was playing it with Aggie, and we were like vibing out on Discord, like talking, hanging out. Like there was like enough ambiance to make the game less scary, and there was still like a part where a dude jumped out of a cabinet at me, and I like flinched out of my chair. I was like, oh, I thought I knew
Yeah.
everything.
The only game that like ever did that to me because I don't play a lot of horror games was Amnesia: The Dark Descent. That was like I used to play that in the dark because it tells you like when you first make a new game to like play in the dark with headphones on, and then you just start jumping out of your seat when
Oh yeah, it's
it-
one of those. They're
yeah,
min
and it
maxing the scares.
yeah, and in that one, like instead of there being I guess like zombies or undead or like people with a virus, it's like you're essentially all alone with your brain with your it's like you alone in a big castle with your mind, but you have amnesia, and you also the darker it is, the more insane, the more you lose your sanity essentially, and when your sanity drops below a certain threshold, like you actually start to get attacked by manifestations from your own brain. So like there's
Oh my
like
god.
yeah, so
That's
like
brutal.
yeah, it's actually like it's scary because it's not typical, like it's not like Silent Hill or like
Yeah, it's
other.
not like standard, like run of the mill kind of
It's like
like horror.
yeah, it's like super psychological, and it makes you question like what you're seeing. If it's like if it's dark enough, your character starts shaking and sweating. You can actually see exactly where your character's like head is at, and yeah, you start seeing things. You start seeing like basically silhouettes that run toward you and can kill you. You have no weapons in that game, so you just have to you literally have to continue to find sources of light and continue to solve puzzles in order to progress. And then as you progress, you find out more about your character because you have amnesia, so you don't
Oh,
know.
he said the name.
Yeah, yeah.
There's the name.
Yeah,
That
didn't mean to
sounds
like spill the entire premise. I'm sure
No, that sounds
like
wild.
yeah, it's really fun. It's dated graphics. They've made a sequel that was like not well received, but first game is a classic. It's like a great first album. It'll always be remembered.
Yeah, right. um with that, I think we can move on to our main subject of today, going back to some music tips for any new bros out there that are getting into the scene. What I want to talk about today was incremental gains. Sorry, not changes. And how basically when you see an artist that's starting to do well, you kind of see, you see like that moment, like when an artist starts to like kind of plateau into like getting like traction and stuff. And I think a lot of new people think that that just happens out of nowhere, but it actually happens from a lot of incremental uh like gains that you make over time by like having good discipline, keeping to a schedule and stuff. And I think that's really hard to see as a new artist. You're just kind of like, oh, if I make a good song, then that'll happen. But you never really see the 7 weeks before that where that artist was grinding every day and going to work their shit job so that they could pay to be in the studio and shit like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
do you have any thoughts to add to that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that with a ton of like artists that we've been working with lately. Like,
Yeah, I think that's why it was on my brain, by the way.
yeah. Between like Kobe and then, our friends Isaiah and Sam that I feel like are also like,
They're new
there's all
bros.
these there's all these people that are like naturally talented, but that you can tell that they just want to create and put it out and have have fans and basically get big off of like no other effort. But music is like multiple skill sets. The music industry is really like a lot of it's marketing, a lot of it's networking and who you
Yeah.
know. And
Yep.
like you also have to be willing to, since it's so oversaturated, no matter what genre you're in, you do have to continuously push yourself out there. And it's like it is hard to do that and like balance all your other priorities, especially having to make money in the meantime and all that. And
Just
we relate
life
to
in
that.
general, like happening while you're
Yeah,
trying to do that. But there's a lot that you have to
yeah.
sacrifice. I think we're experiencing like the second or third level of that now in the last like 6 months. Like we were pretty like not even on purpose, but we were pretty hobbyish about this for a long time. And then over the last 6 months, like kind of making small sacrifices here and there to get those incremental gains. Like we bumped our days up per week to doing 2 days a week of writing. If we're not doing 2 days of writing, we're usually doing at least one of those of like marketing and just talking about social media plans, getting a plan in action. Another shout out to Scooter and Raddick, who
Peter Allen,
are
yeah.
yeah, Scooter Allen, Brandon Raddick, who Scooter is our producer and Brandon Raddick is the video guy that'll be shooting our video, and he's kind of been giving us tips on our marketing plan across the way. And going back to the whole incremental gains, you're gonna have to sacrifice stuff along the way. Maybe like a day off that you like having your day off. Like for me, I love having my days off. I love those days that I get to fucking do nothing. Gavin
Yeah.
knows I've even like canceled days like times before because I'm like, dude, I need a day off. But
Oh
you have
yeah,
to,
it's important too because like having no days off is kind of
yeah,
unrealistic, But on the other hand, it's like with
it's
the
like you got
whole
to put in the work at the same time and sacrifice
yeah,
your time, sacrifice your
you have
money.
to you have to treat it the same way that you would like a tech startup or something where it's
Yeah,
essentially like where those people will do like 7 days a week for months or years, and it's like it's not I think it's fair to say that like not everybody's cut out to work at that volume, and they're
yeah,
also like it's like I think a big question too is like how badly do you want or do you need to get successful? Because if it's not like this pressing, like if you don't have a fire under your ass kind of thing, like I think it's fair
yeah.
to say that like we both did not start with that
No, we
mentality of
didn't.
like,
And I think the hardest ass to light a fire under is your own when it comes to music, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, it's well because it's easy to give. You can look at anybody else's career and like you can look at where anybody else is and just you give them the same advice that you should be giving yourself a lot of the time. Because I
yeah,
noticed that like with I'm just like, man, if this guy just does this and this, and it usually comes down to like committing in some greater way, which that's the only way you see the incremental growth that
yeah.
you're talking
And
about is just
you get to that stage that's the only way you get those incremental growth that leads to that move where you see other artists and you're like, oh, how did they do that so quick? They didn't do that so quick. You just
no.
didn't see the 90 million things that they sacrificed before then. I think that's a um, main point here too. I think that's kind of a big misconception coming into this as a new artist, and I think it's a misconception that we both had too when we started. And now we're at
Yeah,
that point where we're like making like sacrifices where we need to, putting in more time, and that's why I thought it would be a really sick subject to talk about. And yeah,
definitely.
so if you're like a new artist and like you're looking at people and you're like, oh, they got big because that song, that their first single was like really good, it's like, well, their first single has a really good video. It has a really good mix. They reached out to curated playlists, networked with bands, did all this stuff that like you didn't see and might not even care to do depending on like your level of interest in music. I think there's also like a big like a lot of people think they really want it, but when you tell them the work that it's going to take, they don't want it enough to do that work.
No, yeah, I think it's really fair that that's a definitely a very true statement, and I think that we've gone through that. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, I think it's an ongoing process for sure.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
ongoing growth, and it's not all uphill either or downhill. It's
yeah, it's
definitely
not
like
it's not like exponential. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's all over the place for
you just got
sure.
to try your best to just keep it moving in a positive correlation, I guess. But
Yeah, like I think a few like a perfect world for me would be like if I guess if the world was less fucked up and like maybe the wealth was spread slightly better, then I think everybody would be able to pursue these kind of things easier. If
Right.
everybody had more money set aside for literally for all the expenses of the music industry, because it's like, I mean, a lot of people who do really want it, they get into it and they're probably discouraged because it's like, it's like Scooter said, it can take years to make money in a
Yeah,
meaningful
exactly.
way, and so you have to also love it enough. It's a combination of loving it enough to do it for free, but it's also like
You have
being
to love it
dedicated.
enough to lose at first,
Yeah, and it
kind
also
of.
like and being dedicated enough to like actually be prepared for like whatever the next step of growth or whatever the next opportunity is. Like if you're not ready for that yet, it's mostly down to commitment and just
Yeah.
how committed you are. And I say that definitely having struggled with that myself because
Yeah,
like
it's an ongoing battle, like you
yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah, we definitely both like are really into just really into music, and I don't think we can see ourselves doing anything else. Like I've said that like several times because I think that I'm trying to get
True
myself
and
to
real.
believe it as much as we do. But yeah, I think that there are good things on the horizon, and like there's a lot of personal growth that I want to make for myself that I think will make all of the music endeavors easier. I
Yeah.
also think there's like another
Well, you've made a
interesting.
lot of that personal growth too already. Like literally the
Definitely.
incremental gains we're talking about, you've been putting in that work because you know where you have to go with it.
Oh yeah, another great like side thing for this is like I would say too, once you get into it and you've decided that you do really want to make like music your career,
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely specialize in something because like I recently have made the mistake of like stretching myself way too thin between like I think I can do, for example, Westbound and Broken and the beat selling business, but I think that like working with a lot of artists, like if you're in a producer, this is kind of for producers or for people who are, co-writing with their friends, ghostwriting, whatever it is. Like if you're at a point where you feel like that, like you're not necessarily advancing your career or your likeness or you're not building your own brand by putting too much time in. I think it's like good to step back and be like, you know, how much of this is actually serving your own career, essentially like
In a
how much of it.
meaningful way.
Yeah, because like clout and exposure like means nothing. Gratitude is nice, it doesn't pay anything, and obviously they always say don't get into the industry to make money, don't make music to make money. And that's like kind of a double-edged
It's like,
sword in this.
yeah, it's like
It's
true, but
actually it's
also
actually
like,
very toxic. It's a very toxic
yeah,
mindset,
yeah.
but it's also like true in a way. Like you don't want to just be like, oh yeah, I'm only making this not because I love it, not because I love doing it, but to make a profit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess it's kind of like a couple topics in and of themselves. Like
Right.
doing free work when you're new is not bad, but it is very easy, especially if you're already like friends with your collaborators.
To get
Mostly with
stuck in a
like
cycle.
yeah, mostly with like the producer artist thing. I think it's very easy, and like you have not fallen into this, Dylan, to your credit. Like, but I think that like since I've started working with people, and I don't know all the ins and outs of being like a producer yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I have recorded people, and I think that it's just very easy to sort of let the friendship thing guide the entire process and like not
Mm-hmm.
it's like I stopped in several cases. I stopped thinking about how does this help my brand, how does this like pay the bills, how does this like secure some kind of like stability,
Yeah, you want to
you
find the
know
balance in your actions, like,
yeah.
make
And
sure.
I think I refrained from that, sorry to cut you
Oh,
off.
you're good.
I refrained from like I don't want to charge out the ass if it's like my friend like pre-existing, which is really what I'm trying to do, more remote clients, and I want to build like a remote like client network so that I don't have to deal with this at all, and so that the people that I'm working with right now, aside from Kobe, really, that they can go off on their own and get the actual like specialized, they can kind of specialize their own
Mm-hmm.
process. But like when I have to do their entire process for them, oftentimes I definitely like I love doing it, what the reality of it is, those 2 or 3 days that I'm losing a week, it's like you guys should think about this is like those 2 or 3 days that you're losing a week, like helping make somebody else big for free. It can work. It can work if it's like a planned, like concentrated, focused effort.
Yeah.
But if you're doing
Concentrated and
that,
focused. Yeah.
but if you're doing that with like multiple, sorry, I'm getting a call. If you're doing that with multiple people, essentially, it's just very easy for your resources to feel drained, and
Yeah.
it's not sustainable long term unless you want your actual endeavors like Westbound for me, and like the beat thing for me, unless you want those things to like be mediocre as fuck. Like, just being real, like I've noticed that more and more, and obviously I've told you, Dylan, about it, but I think like this is
Mhm.
good for other people to hear before they start recording people, is like if you're also in a band and then you're also a producer, don't like waste your time, and
Yeah.
don't let other people waste your time if they're not serious about it. And I
Work with
think,
people who are like on the same level of focus as you, you know?
yeah, exactly. I think the other thing too is that a lot of these people are like selectively serious. A lot of them are talented, and they're excited for the music. They're excited for their stuff to come out. There's a spectrum. There's like those people that, like we were saying, like where you have a plan and you're committed, and you have to make it in the music industry. So you're like, that's the fire under your ass. And then there's
Mhm.
like kind of the middle ground where it's like they're passionate about their music, but it's like the minute the producer walks out the door, nothing gets done.
Yeah.
Nothing's posted on social media. There's no like any kind of effort on their end,
Yeah.
and
And this
like
could go for like bands too and shit. Like if you're in a band with
yeah.
somebody or something, like
Yeah. It's just about your collaborators, whether it be producer, artist, or bandmate across the board. Like having them pull their weight, unless you've already agreed that you're going to kind of take one role, etc. But like
right.
you should establish
Situational.
with yeah, you should establish like clear boundaries with your clients, especially and that's something that Dylan has definitely done really well. Like I was
Thank you.
Dylan's first like
He
client,
was, yeah. Gavin was my
and
first client.
I think now, like looking at it from kind of his perspective, like it is like exceedingly rare that you get like not only somebody you get along with, but also is like down to
Isn't
they're
it?
yeah, they're not trying to lowball, or essentially like maybe I lowball myself like starting out, and especially because I
I
made
think
the
a lot
mistake
of
of
new producers do that though. I mean, we all
yeah,
did that.
and I made the mistake of like working with too many people who are just not serious enough about it. So if you take one thing away from this, you need to establish like, do your clients give a fuck? If they don't, then you're gonna have the hard talk with them and be like, when you get your stuff to a more serious level and you're ready to like pay for my time kind of thing, then I will, then we can book some stuff. But
Yeah.
you can only build so many people up. If they're not equally or more, they should be pushing harder on their own content than you are pushing them, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
if they don't care about it more than you care about it, and you're the fucking producer,
Yeah.
that's a really
And
bad
yeah,
sign,
that's
in my
bad.
opinion.
And
Yeah.
this goes for anyone who like like the other side of that point, like for people that like are in a band or starting a band that might be watching this, like you can't start putting in the work once it's going well. You have to put in the work for it to go well, I think is the other side of that.
Exactly. Like you can't wait until be like, oh well, if it gets attention, it's like
If it kind of
yeah,
does
yeah.
something, then I'll go hard. You can't really have that mindset. You either have to
No.
go hard or just not go hard at all. And then
Yeah.
of
I
course, as a
mean,
producer, you're
yeah.
with your current endeavors, Gavin, you're trying to like go hard. So you want to work with people that kind of have the same impact as your work ethic.
Yeah, and another thing, like kind of tying into that is like with this beat endeavor, obviously it's like kind of named after me with the Carper Diems thing. But I talked about like internet money before as a producer collective, and like I approached Dylan not long ago with like the idea of like, we should just like be like at least in terms of like the beat thing, we should be like a producer team, and you can be the mix engineer and
And
I'll
it's
make the
been sick
beats.
so far, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that for us is probably our main like into the music industry, so that, it
Yeah, and
just
it was
works.
also
And
one of those things where this is kind of a side note, but it was also one of those things where like because we were putting in more work with our band, we're like buying the stuff that we need to buy, getting content out on a way more consistent basis and stuff like that, we kind of at some point already had the stuff we needed to start the beat thing with like almost no like startup costs. So you can kind of catapult like if you're doing a good job and you're doing the things you need to do, like whether you're in a band or you're an artist, you can kind of like catapult yourself into other areas as long as you're putting in that work, and you can find new ways to use like your skill set or the tools that you have purchased before in a different way that can actually help you like get your brand expanded a lot more.
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, and having some money set aside to like, run ads on social media, doing like everything you
Yeah.
can, like, especially in our situation, rappers that have any kind of following, producers that have any kind of following, are getting sent like samples, loops, beats all the time. So you have to do it
Mm-hmm.
just as often as them,
Yep.
and obviously that's more situational and not really centralized around like, pop punk and alternative, which I feel like is like mainly like we hope to cultivate that kind of audience here, but we're also,
That's
as
our main
like,
love.
yeah, and especially, because it's on
State
the,
champs, anyone?
yeah, yeah.
You knew I was
Especially,
gonna say it.
yeah, yeah. Especially because it's, on the Westbound channel, but like, if in the future we're on a more general channel or something, I don't know, but it makes sense for right now for us to.
Dude, I love like all the talks we've had on these first two streams because like as we said in the first stream too, guys, like this is kind of about giving you guys updates, talking about music stuff, but also like giving you guys kind of a window to look into like the stuff that we do on a weekly basis. And I know we kind of talked about this last week, and you and me have talked about this several times, is like just putting more of a personality like to like the music we have and the stuff and the content we have coming out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely trying to put a face behind
Face to
the
the name.
name, and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I
And
was
that's
gonna.
something you guys can do too if you're a new band. Think of like, with podcast, shorts that like, maybe
Yeah,
you have
make
your
like
song playing,
skits,
but but it shows like if you're a silly dude, like just be a silly dude, and like, that's what people
Yeah.
are into. Like just be yourself and cultivate ways in content that you can showcase that on top of your music.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the music is like the first
N-
step, but there's so many other things around it, and I think that like we're definitely. I'll keep you guys updated as it goes on, because there's a lot of like, I think I was giving a lot of advice that I also need to take myself, and there's a lot of like
But this is all
changes.
stuff you've been learning along the way, so
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
all
like
trial and error.
yeah, making the changes needed, and setting boundaries and like protecting yourself is like super important, whether you're an artist, producer, whatever. Like, the industry is not nice. People will use you, so don't and you can let yourself be used very easily, especially if that's like a
Hmm.
personality trait. So that's something to keep in mind.
Right.
If you're always the generous one, if you're always the one providing, it can very easily, you can be stabbing yourself in a way, like
Yeah.
indirect. So
If
yeah.
you just surrounding yourself with the right people, as we kind of talked about before, um, keeping consistent. I think also like with keeping consistent, like musically, whether you're an artist or a band, and like always pushing for more, kind of like gravitates the same type of people toward you over time. Like I was like my first band, like none of us fucking like knew what we were doing. We were doing a really bad job on everything.
Mhm.
Nothing was getting done in a timely manner. It was taking forever to do everything. And, we even thought at the time, we're like, oh, we're doing everything right. But
Yeah.
I think like once you really get the right focus and you're staying consistent, putting in the time, it does at a certain point like gravitate you towards people that are also doing that and pushing for more.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's literally like they always say, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And
Yeah, I think
and a
that's
lot of
true
that
too.
goes,
Like it's crazy.
yeah, and a lot of that goes also with not even intelligence, but just like if you're not like ambitious at all, it's very easy to surround yourself. I think it's way easier to surround yourself with people who are like kidding themselves about their ambition,
Yeah.
and kidding themselves about how like they don't want to change. They want to stay mostly the same. So you have to be that one who kind of like makes you have to make a diamond out of coal essentially on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a
So
lot of people who like this really applies to anything music. A lot of people that like are kidding themselves about like, I guess taking the next step. Usually you can really tell too, because if you try to like push someone to like take the next step and they really don't want to take it, they'll usually probably get mad about it.
they'll get mad, they'll make excuses, and we've had that in ourselves to a lesser extent. But when you see it in somebody else, it's very obvious. And it almost sucks more. Like it's that phenomenon when you see something that reminds you of a part of yourself that you don't like. So it's like if
Yeah,
somebody's
dude,
act
that's
if somebody's
crazy.
acting, somebody's acting the way that you maybe used to act, or maybe you're trying not to act like, and then it's just like, dude, like this makes me hate you so much more because you remind me of the bad parts of me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
You want to basically, like, I think it all ties to just understand where you're at as an artist or producer or band, and surround yourself with people that are on that level and pushing at the same rate as that you are. If you're pushing at all, if you're not pushing and you don't care, and like you're like, oh, it's a hobby and I just want to like go play at a bar here and there, then that's totally fine. But
yeah,
you're not gonna be around the people that like are really gonna like you're not gonna be that hobby band that like for some reason blows up. It's just not gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get not gonna get,
But
not gonna pay the dividends, as you'd say.
yeah, exactly. It's not gonna pay the dividends. But I think that's a good point for us to probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining. Again, all our social links are below under the stream. This will also be up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which is also below.
Oh yeah.
Feel free to check out any of our covers on our YouTube channel. They're fully DIY. Like we retract everything and kind of put our own spin on those covers. There's a Neck Deep cover, a Newfound Glory cover, and Kenny Hoopla cover up on there right now. And we should have probably another cover coming, like maybe next week. We'll see. Maybe the week
Yeah.
after, but hopefully next week. So stay tuned for that too, guys. And we will see you guys next week.
See you later.
Peace.